If you have ever traveled to a foreign country or a new place, you know how it feels. Every little object is registered in your mind. Every little image is magnified. And that's how I felt in 2002 when I first landed in Austin, Texas. And that was my first time out of India. I was there to pursue my graduate studies, and a friend was going to pick me up from the airport. And they say US is a land of dreams, and it did seem like a dream. Everything was perfect, nice and quiet. As I sat in the car of my friend, I noticed how nice it was and how roomy it felt, even though he was just a PhD student, and so much different from what I had experienced back in India. The cars are smaller. Just to give an example, 970cc is a typical car engine in India, but I think here it's always more than 1000cc, at 1.4cc. So the car ride seemed so smooth, the 15-minute ride from the airport to home. And it was like floating on the clouds, which is so different, in stark contrast to the mayhem I've been used to in India. So that was how I first got here in US and my first experience. Next morning, I had to appear for a test of spoken English exam, and that exam was very important for me to get financial assistance at the university. So I needed to pass that exam. My friend, he said, hey, you know what? Tomorrow I have to attend an early lecture, very early lecture. Is it possible you can just go by yourself, take a bus? And I was not expecting that. Just out here in this new country, hundreds of miles away. I was not ready to take that. Like a little child who was not ready to let go of dad's finger, I was hoping that he would familiarize me for at least a couple of days with this new place before throwing me in deep waters. But I was young and smart, or so I thought. I did not betray any emotion of fear or anxiety. I said, oh yes, of course. What is a bus ride? I've taken plenty of bus rides in India. Just give me some directions and I'll make it. And he brought me a bus route map. We went over it together, and everything was, it was crystal clear. And I memorized the directions and everything and looked over the map a couple of times. And I thought, okay, this is not going to be any tough. It's very easy. I tried to sleep through the night, but the anxiety of riding a bus in a totally new place, the jet lag of 24-hour journey, and just the anticipation of an exam, which is a spoken English exam, and this is English is my second language. Although I've been educated in English language, English medium school, but still, spoken English was not something that came to me very naturally, and I was very anxious. So it was a sleepless night. I was up most of the night, so I got ready pretty early in the morning. I checked my map and made sure that I had it and looked again a few times. It was like a treasure. It was like a map to a hidden treasure. That's how I was clutching the map in one hand. I had the backpack on my shoulder. The bus stop was a block away from the apartment, and I knew where to go and where the bus stop was. So I stepped out of my home and the apartment and went to the bus stop. Those were impatient moments, I must tell you. I was afraid that I might miss the bus, I might not be able to write the exam, I might catch the wrong bus, and all sorts of different emotions were coming to my mind. But outwardly I was staying very calm as possible. And the bus arrived. I stepped into the bus and quickly grabbed the window seat, making sure that I match all the landmarks outside with the map in hand. So I was very vigilant, and I sat in the bus, and the bus started on its way. A few minutes on the ride, I realized I'm going in the wrong direction. A fear gripped me. My heartbeat raced, and I didn't know what was going to happen with my exam. Would I miss the opportunity for the exam and the consequential financial consequences? I got off frantically from the bus and went to the front of the bus and asked the driver to stop the bus at the next stop. He did. I got off the bus immediately. I opened the map quickly and tried to figure out where I am. I looked around this direction. I looked around in that direction, trying to see where I am. And I was totally lost. Desperately, I was looking for a divine intervention, which in my case meant a human being who could tell me the right direction to go in and the right bus to catch. Thankfully, I noticed a man a few hundred feet from me trying to cross the road. He didn't seem to notice me, but I walked quickly up to him. I hesitated for a moment. Why? This was a blind man. And for a moment I hesitated, but then I set aside my apprehensions of his inability to help. And I said, he is my last hope if I were to reach the test center and write my exam. So I asked his help anyway. And he was a very polite man. He pointed his cane to the direction and even pointed where the bus stop is going to be. That was like a second life to me. And I trusted him wholeheartedly, blindly, and went to the bus stop. And again, a few impatient moments, but the bus came. I hopped on the bus. I reached my destination. But there was, again, a 15 minutes walk to the center. I was already late by the time, so I was no more anxious. I was resigned to my fate. But I still wanted to somehow let the test center know that I'm on my way. So I saw this girl passing out of the laundromat with a phone in her hand, and I wasted no time in asking for her help. Called them up, and they said, that's okay, come here, write the test, and you're fine. I wrote the test, and finally I passed the exam. That was quite a ride to remember, and I went through, this was just my second day, but it was very exciting, yet at the same time, it was quite a learning experience for me. One, never be afraid to ask for help. Second, never lose hope. And no matter how bad things are, the good things would come eventually, just like the buses.